Welcome back to the Budget Gamer channel. Today we're going to be looking at Xeodrifter. This Metroid-Vania style MegaMan lookalike game was originally released back in February of 2018, but just got a 50% price cut, so I was eager to get my hands on it. While the overall story really isn't that deep, the platforming gameplay is enough to keep you engrossed. More or less, when you were traveling through space, your ship was struck by a meteor and your warp drive took some damage. And while recovering some basic functionality, now you're stuck in some backwater solar system trying to find a new core. This general mission will push you into the exploration of 4 local planets, each with their own more or less unique environments and challenges. As you navigate through the planetary levels, you'll be encountering enemies and bosses, uncovering secret hidden chambers, upgrading your HP and your weapon. Like any typical platformer, defeating random spawn enemies doesn't contribute toward any sort of experience or leveling up system, but defeating a boss will unlock a new unique ability. These unique abilities range anywhere from being able to transform into a submarine to navigate through water portions of levels, to being able to phase shift between foreground and background level elements, make use of jet propulsion, or even a solar flare blast. Now, while these different abilities aren't really that necessary or useful for any sort of combat element, they are necessary for how you navigate through the levels themselves. Each new ability will allow you to access or engage with a new portion of a level, allowing you to engage with previously locked areas in each planetary environment. These newly unlocked portions of each planetary environment may contain hidden rooms, more HP or weapon upgrades, or more and more difficult bosses. And considering this unique skill-based access mechanic, Xeodrifter, though looking like a Mega Man clone, is a little bit different than the actual gameplay. Each planet doesn't contain one boss and one skill that you can play in sequence or in any given order, but just the opposite. Planets will have to be played in the order of skills which give you access to the portions of levels you need to complete next. Meaning that in some cases, if you actually want to be able to find every single upgrade, you may have to navigate through a new environment 4 or even 5 times. And though this would seem to get a bit repetitious, the new abilities actually allow you to navigate old areas in different ways. Newly unlocked areas change how each level is played, and abilities such as flight or navigation between foreground and background elements can even allow you to take shortcuts past those previously grindy portions. The actual gameplay mechanics are about as simple as you would expect, with the typical dynamics of run, jump, shoot, and crouch. However, the additional abilities are pretty intuitively mapped to combinations of the directional buttons and the action button. Flying being the action button and up, dashing being the action button and left or right, and the swimming function being action button and down. And though it may seem slightly complicated at first, the gameplay actually requires liberal use of each skill before obtaining the next skill, meaning that it does become very intuitive very quickly. However, there is one negative point that some of you may have already noticed in the gameplay footage. And that is, while the graphics and gameplay of this platformer are really good, the portfolio of enemy sprites is actually very, very limited. There are actually only about 6 different types of enemy characters, excluding the bosses. And the bosses themselves are merely a recolor of the original. Though as you play through the game and advance and unlock new areas, each enemy will gain a little more defense and deal a little more damage to you with each blow. The bosses as well, though they don't really change their look all too much, do develop a massive portfolio of attacks as you progress through the game. But defeating the more challenging enemies does bring us to one of the unique dynamics of Xeodrifter. And that is the fact that besides increasing your health bar, you're able to modify your weapon in about 5 different ways. Each type of weapon upgrade or combinations of weapon upgrades can be more effective on certain enemies than others, which is why I enjoy the fact that you can save up to 3 individual weapon loadouts. Though weapon upgrade points can be reassigned at any point in the game, having the ability to pre-select loadouts makes it very simple and very quick to change between the most effective weapon types for the current environment that you're in. Overall, I'd have to say that Xeodrifter is a surprisingly excellent platformer style game, especially with the 50% off price cut. Though if you're more of a player that enjoys an engrossing story, maybe this one's not going to be for you. But for anyone who enjoyed or currently enjoys the Metroid series, the Castlevanias, or any of the MegaMans, Xeodrifter is definitely a game that you should think about getting. Anyway, that about wraps up the review of Xeodrifter. If you found the review interesting or helpful, feel free to throw me a like or a comment to show your support. And don't forget to click that little bell icon when you subscribe to stay updated with the latest content. These videos are coming out about 3 times a week, so there's always going to be something new to find. And if you'd like to help me create these reviews or support this channel, feel free to check out our Patreon page. There's actually some pretty cool benefits for supporters. Anyway, this has been Budget Gamers. As always, thanks for watching.